first just introduce yourself, let everybody know who you are, where you practice, and kind of orient everybody as to who Miss Kayla Bumpus is, please?
I practice about 50% criminal and 50% personal injury.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows, because I see on the internet, that I started off in the DA's office. I was there for about a year and a half before I went out on my own. But yeah,
Okay, so let's
that's
jump in
me.
right there because that's very interesting. You mentioned that you were in the DA's office. Were you in, when you say the DA's office, the district attorney's office, are you talking about the same district attorney's office that we're watching right now, the district attorney's office in Fulton County?
Yes, but I worked under the Paul Howard administration.
Okay, them was some days. We ain't gonna get into it, but them was some days. So are you from Atlanta or where are you from?
Yeah, I'm from Atlanta.
All right, an Atlanta native. Listen, we are hard to find. All right, all you guys come down from New York, New Jersey, everything. Y'all are diluting us. All right, so Miss Bumpus is from Atlanta, and then she started working at some point in the DA's office. And then you mentioned that you were there for about a year and a half. You worked under the previous administration, not in Fannie's, Fani, not in her office or not while she was at the helm, but the previous district attorney, Paul Howard. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And so you practice about half criminal and then half PI, personal injury. So you making that money. All right, Ms. Bumpus got it. And you not only do you practice here in Atlanta, but you also practice is it in Texas as well?
Houston. Yeah, I live in Houston, but I'm not all the way barred there yet. They have reciprocity with Georgia, but I do anticipate to be barred pretty soon. Awesome.
All right. So she making money in multiple states, guys. All right, let's kind of start at the beginning. And we have your motion to quash, which I thought was beautifully drafted. Me and AV, we read a lot of these documents, and sometimes, they're just horrible to read. But yours was amazing, to be honest. How did you first find out about Lil Woody? How did you first meet him? I think it's been speculated that you had represented him previously.
Yes, I represented him previously.
Okay, so you already had a legal relationship with him. And then at a certain point, Woody hired an attorney. Do you know what the gentleman's name was? I'm slipping on his name.
Yes, the previous name is Jonathan Melnick.
Melnick. Okay, excellent. And then there was some back and forth with Melnick. Now, there was one part of the story that I didn't understand, and it was about the exchange of emails. And the district attorney, or let's say one of the ADAs, kept talking about the email where Mr. Melnick wrote "F you" to somebody. Do you understand what that situation was?
No, that was okay. So you have to remember, I actually was just standing in for Attorney Melnick. I wasn't hired to represent Woody or Kenneth Copeland at all. I was just standing in for Attorney Melnick. So I guess whatever was exchanged prior to me becoming involved, I never even saw the email. So I heard what you guys heard, but I never saw it.
Got you. And I do want to point out that you pronounced Woody's name Woody. Is that how he pronounces it? Lil Woody?
Yeah. Woody.
Okay, listen, no, I appreciate it. We've been pronouncing, listen, guys over here, we pronounce names all wrong all the time. I've said Fannie Willis about 3,000 times along with everybody else. And now she's saying, oh, the lead attorney's sexualizing my name. No, it looks like Fannie. All right, but it's Fannie, fair enough. So Woody is how you pronounce it. So
yeah, I have to remember if I'm saying it right sometimes, because everyone says Fanny. I'm like, it's Fanny.
Just a quick question, Kayla. Do we pronounce your name Kayla or Kyla? Is Kayla? Okay, perfect. I just had a quick question for you, because you said you were standing in. How did that happen? Like, did you and Melnick know each other? Like, did y'all set that up separately? How did that stand-in process kind of take place?
Well, I mean, that's common for a lot of attorneys, especially in criminal defense, that, if there's something going on, that we'll stand in for one of another. Me and Attorney Melnick have a wonderful working relationship. He stands in for me, I stand in for him. And
Gotcha.
so I'm pretty sure he just knew he could call me because he's done me a million favors. I've done him a million favors. That's just what we do for each other.
Gotcha.
100%. And that happens so often, guys. That's why it's good sometimes to have partners, law partners, or even attorneys who you can call as a friend, because many times they'll stand in for you. They won't charge you anything if it's something small, just like a little appearance, a little calendar call, or this or that. Now, but it also happens, guys, and I've had this happen to me over my 20-year career, where somebody says, "Hey, lead, just go over here, show her." Oh, she already know. She already know. Miss Kyla's up on Gabe, right? And it looks a little bit like that's kind of what happened to you. Where, listen, she already knows that. She reading my mind.
Can you just go take this one little plea for me? All the terms are worked out.
Yes, that's exactly right. And then you get up there, and then the judge is like, "All right, are you ready to pick a jury?" And you're like, "Wait a minute, pick a what? I showed up to sign 3 pieces of paper, and now you talking about picking a jury." Sometimes, and it's not the attorney's fault. Sometimes things just blow up, guys, and that happens so many times. Even on your cases where you're not covering for anybody, you'll show up to court thinking that it's one thing, and stuff has unraveled, and it's another. Actually, it'll even happen with your own client. You will work out a great plea offer with your client. Your client accepts on a Friday. You show up on Monday to close it out, and your client shows up and is like, "Yeah, I want to go to trial." You're like, "What are you talking about?" "Well, I talked to my mama and my girlfriend, and my mom and my girlfriend said,
my cellmate."
Oh, don't forget about the cellmate. I told y'all back there they be talking. The worst thing, what you want to have is a client who's in isolation down at the jail, because if they sit in that damn day room and talk to, all they do is talk about the offers and how much they're going to get. And no, you shouldn't accept this and you shouldn't accept that, and make them take you to trial and make the state spend all its resources on you. I mean, they just start filling your clients' heads with BS. So you will show up to your own hearing, not realizing that it's about to hit the fan. And so it appears that that's what happened to you. I believe Mr. Melnick, he had a conflict. He was about to go on vacation or was otherwise engaged. He asked you to cover. When you showed up, you were thinking that it was one thing, and then it turned into another. When you were thinking that all you needed to do was kind of make sure that Woody was on the stand, or kind of what was your idea about what was supposed to happen that Monday?
Well, I'm not going to go into too much detail because, I still have my own pending situation.
Oh, okay. Listen, where are you at? Are you in Atlanta? Because I think you got court tomorrow. Okay. He said, "I'm here, I'm waiting." All right, that is very true. But yeah, go ahead.
Just to reiterate what was said in open court was that I was there for purposes of either Mr. Copeland to purge himself from his contempt, or to continue to stay in a pleading the fifth status. He decided that he wanted to go ahead and testify, which should have discharged me, because I was specifically there because everyone saw on Friday he decided he wanted to plead the fifth, which led to him being arrested and held in contempt. But once he decided that he was going to testify and essentially purge himself from that contempt, which means free himself from that contempt, then my services were no longer needed or required. And I say my services, but really Attorney Melnick's services.
Right. And I found it interesting, guys. And just to give you a little background, when we represent you as attorneys, we have a lot of obligations to you. And one of the things that we cannot do is just, fire you and leave it at that. We actually have to get permission from these judges to fire you. Now, judges are pretty liberal in allowing us to get out of the case, especially when the client wants us out. But even sometimes when they're not, as long as they don't have like a pending thing going on that's coming up the next day or something like that, the judges will let us out of a case. And I believe it was very interesting to me to watch that hearing where you showed up, because it seemed that Woody wanted you out of the case. All of the defense were fighting to have you out of the case. And even the prosecutor, I saw you talking with Miss Hyatt a lot, and Miss Hylton, I'm sorry. And she seemed like she was in agreement with you. It was like everybody in the courtroom wanted you out of the case except one particular person. Can you talk to us about kind of how you were feeling when everybody, including yourself, wanted out and the judge kind of kept you in?
Well, just not to say too much, because like I said, there's still some things that I have to work out myself. But Mr. Copeland and I were on the same page. He knew he knew that he didn't need me anymore, and there was no point for me to sit there all these days while he testified. That was like you said, everybody in the courtroom was on the same page. So him firing me was really an act of like, how else can we get her to be released?
Right.
It wasn't any bad blood or anything like that. And I think most people read the room, because I haven't seen anywhere where people pretty much think that it was that. But it was just kind of everybody coming together, like, let the girl go home.
Yes, because again, you don't even live here, right? You living out in Houston.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
And so go ahead, AV.
I was going to say, so Kayla, how did you feel when he was talking about that 10-day rule? Like, he brought up the 10 days and kept talking to Woody like, hey, you still have 10 days to think about it. What was your reaction to that?
I mean, I just was very confused. I didn't understand what was going on. And, maybe I can come back after I'm clear, but it just was so much more to what was happening right then.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was super weird because, guys, again, the 10 days is really for your protection. If I want to drop you as a client, I have to give you 10 days in general for you to either find other representation or for you to let the judge know, he's charging me $75,000, but I've paid $65,000. I don't have the other 10, but I've already paid 65. We need to have a hearing on this. He needs to do my case, even though I owe him 10,000. And so the 10 days really kind of gives you guys the protection. But the 10 days is not required if you guys fire us. If you guys say, hey, I don't want him either, then you don't need the 10 days. But the judge was very, very insistent on getting the 10 days. Why? Because the 10 days more or less would have gotten us where? To tomorrow, the 25th. And he was fighting so hard. The judge was. Speak of the devil, look here, we got him in the chat. Shout out to Judge Glanville, has become a new member. All right, Judge Glanville, y'all see him down there. Kayla, I don't think that's him. Kayla's like, hold on.
No, that's not him. That's a troll.
For sure.
Thank you, Judge, for becoming a new member. Shout out to Judge. Shout out to Judge Glanville. But yeah, so it was super weird to see.
And those rules don't apply when you're being fired. Or when your representation has ended, or when you were never the counsel of record. So
in the first place,
okay,
he was what's the phrase Puffy uses? AV. He was
scrambling and scraping.
Yeah, the judge was scrambling and scraping, trying to keep Miss Kayla in, even though Woody wanted him out. Woody wanted her out. The defense team wanted her out, and the prosecution team. I don't think I've ever seen one issue that united the whole courtroom except for Judge Glanville. And so we saw at the end, Glanville took a lunch, supposedly to let everyone else think about it, but apparently he was down there. He was in his office typing up a show cause order.
Right.
And then right when he finally agreed to release you, he kind of slid you the order. Did you know what it was when he gave it to you, or kind of what was it about?
I mean, I was sure, but I didn't know, but had an idea.
Really? I had no idea that he was going to try to call you back. And so that day really is tomorrow, right? So you're in Atlanta and you're prepared to show up, even though I don't think the judge has mentioned anything else about that hearing. Have you heard if it's still on or not, or do you know anything about it?
I don't. I mean, I've heard different rumors and different theories, but as far as me being released from appearing tomorrow, that has not happened.
Got you. So you are planning to show up, and I guess everyone else too. I think, and shout out again to the brother Talk That Law. Excellent man. Excellent.
Well, and I just want to clarify that was not an interview. Someone told me to come to his chat, but I appreciate him and nothing like that. And they kept saying I was a bot, and I was like, drop the link.
They kept saying you were what?
This isn't her.
Oh, they didn't think it was really you.
Yes.
Oh,
okay.
So that's how that happened.
So it was like completely unplanned?
Yeah, it wasn't. I was just like, it's really me.
Yeah, like you were chilling on the couch. You were like, what? They did not think it was you, but it absolutely was. So you are planning to show up tomorrow unless you hear something different. And I think everyone else, including the security team, and including Lil Woody himself. Do you know if Woody's going to have representation at the supposed hearing tomorrow?
I'm not sure.
But it's not going to be you. Is that right?
No, it's not going to be me.
Excellent. And I believe you mentioned on Brother Taught That Law's channel that at the secret meeting, there were about 14 different people in there.
I mean, there were different people, including, like just court staff. So, I mean, it was different people, but I can't really talk about that yet. But we will talk about it.
I hear you. Now, I will admit, Ms. Bumpus, that I, especially considering what the judge was thinking, and I don't have any information. I'm just here watching like everybody else. I did think that it was you that was the mole. I did. And then I had infamous Sylvia come up a couple of days ago or last week, and I'm not sure if you met her. She is
I know Miss Sylvia.
Yes, and she's been in the courtroom pretty much every single day, keeping tabs on this. And because she's been there for so long, she's developed relationships with people in the courtroom, defense attorneys, and even the family of Young Thug. She's pretty close to Young Thug's father. And so she has a lot of inside knowledge. And she came up and she was like, no. Kayla, in fact, is not the mole. It was not you. It was not you. Do you want to comment on anything about, if it was you, if it wasn't you, kind of, what do you think about that?
I mean, I just let people think what they want to think.
Mm-hmm. She sounds just like Woody. What you mean? What you mean? Now, she said actually that she passed you, or she saw you going to the secret meeting that morning when you should. Oh yeah, listen. The streets have eyes and ears. Okay, you can't go anywhere. And according to her, she said that your countenance, your affect, you weren't really happy about it. She said that you looked a little frustrated, a little angry while you were going there. Did you know what you were going to when you were summoned to the judge's chambers, or at least how did that go? How did you find out that you needed to go to the judge's chambers?
Well, that's not very accurate. What I'm not saying she's wrong, but she doesn't really know what was going on. Because when she saw me, I was going to the bathroom. So it was a whole thing. Like, I had got locked in the jury bathroom, and I had to come out open court, like, because of I couldn't get back. It was just so
out of context. That was out of context.
So sometimes we can misread the tea leaves, right? So and shout out to Miss Sylvia again, because she's just reporting on kind of what she sees, and what we see sometimes it can be accurate, or what we see sometimes we can miss some context. So what you're saying is, in fact, that you are the mole. Is that right? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Oh,
I'm not speaking on it. My attorneys will have a fit.
Yeah. Where are you? And again, the motion that you filed here was a thing of beauty, to be honest. Me and AV have read so many legal draftings that are they're terrible to read. Now, in this motion that we are looking at, it looks like you're asking for two things. It looks like you're asking for a motion to quash the hearing tomorrow, and you are asking for a motion to recuse the judge. Can you tell us just briefly kind of what is a motion to quash, And why is this something that you want? What is
Well,
quash? Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess in layman terms, like I guess what my mom said when she saw it, she said, does squash mean squash? And I'm like, well, kind of.
I like that. I like that.
But I
Mhm.
mean, just without like my attorneys, they did a really good job. They've done a really good job. They've all been there, and I have attorney Gabe Banks, Julius Collins, Kristen Nove, Nicole Mormon, and Kyle. And they all are great attorneys, and they put a lot of work into this, and I appreciate them so much. But I guess the thing now is of course, we all know that the motion to recuse, which we've been hearing about for weeks now from several motions to recuse, was denied. And also Judge Glanville decided not to grant a certificate of immediate review, which was interesting. And then he did not let them at all address the motion to quash. And I don't know what's going to happen with that. So I'm not allowed to speak on that until that happens. I don't know if that's going to happen tomorrow or what happens next as far as that goes.
Got you. So the motion to quash has not been ruled on. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, but the judge did rule on the motion to recuse?
Yes.
And I guess he denied. He said it ain't going nowhere, right?
Yep.
All right. So what time are you planning on showing up tomorrow if you don't hear anything? Or what time are y'all supposed to be there?
9:30, I believe.
9:30. And is that supposed to be in open court, or is that going to be a separate secret meeting? Have you heard?
I believe it would be in open court. I mean, everything else has been in open court.
Got you. Now, one of the people that was indicated to be there at the secret meeting was the court reporter. And they have been going back, the judge and the defense counsel have been going back and forth about, number one, when a transcript will be ready for the defense to review. And number two, if the transcript will be redacted, if some of the things in the transcript kind of would be blacked out. Have you heard anything about the judge wanting the transcript done before this hearing that y'all have to go to tomorrow? Is there any connection with that?
I'm not sure, but I do know that my attorneys are asking for an opportunity to review it as well.
Got you. And so you have, and just to be clear, you have your own attorneys who are not necessarily, they're not representing anyone else in the case, not like Young Thug or Shannon or anybody. They are solely there to represent you on this particular motion. Is that right?
Correct.
Or I guess I don't want to call it a motion. I don't even know what it is, because it sounds like the judge just sua sponte said, hey, we're having a hearing on the 25th. And is it your idea, because it certainly seems to me this way, but is it your idea that the judge, at least when he made this show cause order, that he was kind of looking to see, if you should be held in contempt? Is that right?
I guess that's what it is. You guys have read it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. And the last attorney that the judge did this with was Brian Steele. And Brian Steele. And Brian Steele was ordered to go to basically be incarcerated for 20 days. Basically the whole.
Hold on, y'all. 1 second. My baby crying.
No problem. Shout out to the babies. All right. Y'all know we love the kids. Okay. So the last attorney that this happened to was Brian Steele. He was ordered to go to be incarcerated every weekend for 10 consecutive weeks. He filed, or attorneys on his behalf filed motions to fight that, and went to the Supreme Court here in Georgia, and the Supreme Court issued a stay. If the judge, and no one knows what's going to happen tomorrow, or even if the hearing is going to happen tomorrow, if the judge does have the hearing tomorrow and finds you in contempt and also wants to sentence you to 20 days in jail, are you going to, do you think you would anticipate filing a similar motion to the Georgia Supreme Court to fight that? Or kind of, what's your ideas about what might happen tomorrow?
I guess that's what I would have to do. I mean, that's just what I would have to do. But, I have no clue as to what's going to happen tomorrow.
Gotcha. And it's Attorney Milnick, is he scheduled to I guess was he ordered to show up to this as well, even though he wasn't in the hearing?
No.
Man, so
Wow.
But he has been very supportive throughout the whole situation, and I highly doubt that he won't be there tomorrow.
Gotcha. I know he feels bad. I know he feels bad about this because no one expected it to blow up this way.
Right.
And guys, what we notice as attorneys when we're covering for you, and it becomes this big piece of mess. Guys, we didn't get any money from it. Like the attorney got all of the money. We're just doing it on the strength as a favor. And now we got to stay in a different state and show up to court and risk incarceration.
Right.
Grace say, listen, she knows. We get it. Like, wait, you got all the money, but I'm doing the work, right? AV, do you have any questions? I never want you to feel excluded.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking as you guys were talking, Kayla, how have you felt about like all the media coverage and all the attention on this? Because it's been everywhere. Like it's been on Law and Crime, all over YouTube, social media, the news. Like, how have you felt about all of that?
I don't know. I just take it a day at a time. I just feel like it just comes with the territory. It's not the first time it may be this big, but it's not the first time I've been in something related to my job. But it just comes with the territory.
Yeah. Do you find that people were reporting on things accurately?
I think they are doing the best they can with what they have.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I can say I'm definitely grateful for is that I haven't seen anything negative about me, and I've had a lot of support. And, at first I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen? But it could have went so many ways. And I'm just thankful that it's not something that, has me feeling down.
Okay, well, that's good. That's good. Because it's also kind of like, just listening to what you were saying about the other attorney, Melnick, because I don't think anybody expected for all of this to happen,
Right.
Yeah.
100%. And I totally agree with what you're saying, Ms. Bumpus, about the support that you have been given. Everybody loves you over here. We got, 8,000 people in here. Somebody write Ms. Bumpus. Somebody write Ms. Bumpus in the chat, man.
Well, y'all follow me on Instagram.
Yes. What is your Instagram?
It's Blessquire, BLESSSQUIRE.
Blessquire. I love that. And they can follow you. And if they want your legal representation for any criminal or personal injury, they can also hit you up. Is that right?
That's correct.
And you have offices. Do you have an office in Houston? Do you have an office here or kind of where's your
office? Both. I have office in both.
All right. So if you get in an accident in Houston or down I-85 on this one. Now, it's been said that you and Miss Hylton are sorority sisters. Is that right? Do y'all know each other from before? Did you like, no, we don't know any sororities?
No.
I did not know that. Was this your first time meeting her when you showed up about this case?
No, she's my friend.
Oh, y'all are friends.
But not from sorority.
Got you. Did y'all go to the same law school together, or how did you guys meet?
From GABWA, which is Georgia Association of Black Women Attorneys, but she was also a prosecutor under Mr. Howard when I was there.
Wow, so she's been around for some time.
Yeah, Simone is an amazing attorney. She's an amazing prosecutor. She's so smart. She's brilliant.
Awesome. So you guys are not, that's interesting. We cleared that rule up. You guys are not sorority sisters. Y'all didn't go to the same law school.
It's not like we're friends, like where we talk. We talk in the courtroom. It's not like what people speculate. People just don't understand. Right. And people always think that being friends with the state is a bad thing, but it benefits your client so many ways when you're kind to everyone in the courtroom.
Right.
And when you have a relationship with everyone in the courtroom, doesn't mean you're working with the state. But if you have a prosecutor that hates you, negotiations don't go well.
They do not. They do not. And if there's one thing that you need as a criminal defense attorney, it's relationships with these people.
Yeah.
Because they're not necessarily going to make things easier for you if you have a good relationship, but they will absolutely make it harder if you have a bad relationship.
Correct.
And having a bad relationship with a prosecutor, it can really result in a worse outcome for your client. Now, have you been following this case from the beginning, or did you first was this first on your radar when Mr. Melnick asked you to get in on it?
I've been in and out.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I've been in and out.
Were you aware and again, Miss Sylvia reported on this, that, a week or two ago, Miss, your soror, Miss Hylton, apparently she was cross-examining Woody, and when there was a break, she just burst out into tears. Were you aware of that happened allegedly, or anything about that?
No, but I mean, I was a prosecutor before, and I probably would have burst out in tears in front of everyone. I almost burst out in tears when he told me I had to stay for 10 days. So
okay,
wow.
I know that's right. Have you been, so it's interesting because you've known Woody for, I think it's fair to say, let's say a few years. You represented him, and it's impossible not to hear about how he's doing on the stand.
Yeah.
And you were a prosecutor yourself. Now, removing, let's just say from your expert vantage point, particularly based on Woody's testimonies these last few weeks, considering that he's a star witness, how do you think this case is going for the prosecutors, you being a prosecutor yourself?
I'm gonna just say I'm so confused.
What are you confused about?
I'm just confused about it all. I don't know. I have no comment on that. I mean, I don't know where it's going. Maybe I don't know the end game.
Mm-hmm. If you take Woody's testimony, him being a star witness, do you think that the state is meeting its burden of beyond a reasonable doubt with this witness? Come on, Miss Bobby.
He's like, give me something.
Where you getting it from now?
I'm gonna say like I tell my clients, that's up to the jury.
Well, no, but you're not only are you a regular person, so you can put yourself in the eyes of the jury, but then you're also a prosecutor, so you have an expert vantage point. Because I've represented criminal defendants, but I've never worked on the prosecutor side. You guys are well aware of the beyond a reasonable doubt burden. Kind of how do you feel about Woody's testimony? And this is not a shot at Woody or anything. Woody's testifying how he's testifying. But do you think that his testimonies these last few weeks are helpful if you were trying to convict these defendants beyond a reasonable doubt? Would you say that his testimony has been helpful?
Not in my opinion.
Yeah, why not?
It's just not. It's all over the place.
Yeah,
and, it's just hard to really know what's the truth and what's not the truth.
100%. Has this happened to you before, where as a prosecutor, you thought your star witness was going to testify one way and then they go rogue and start testifying another way? Can you explain that feeling, or kind of?
No, I've never seen anything like this.
Wow. Never. But you've had it on the defense side. I mean, you represented people where you thought they were going to testify one way and then they get up there and start nutting up or start saying.
Well, stuff. Generally, I mean, not really. I mean, it's pretty consistent, because usually when the state has a witness like that, it results in a plea. I mean, they usually know when that's going to happen for the most part.
Well, explain that a little bit, because we're up here talking to the law people, but we got almost 9,000 people. Explain in the chat. Explain what you mean by that. If the state has a witness like this, it usually results in a plea. Well,
generally, when you see, this is just a whole different situation.
Yeah, let's just talk. We can remove it from this particular and just talk in generalities. Yeah.
But usually if the state believes that a witness may not be as credible as they deemed originally, or they have some doubt in how the witness is going to testify, it's a negotiating power for the defense. Because it's like, okay, well, we don't know what they're going to say, so maybe we can just go ahead and do a time served as long as I get my conviction. Something like that.
Do you say Go ahead. Sorry, lead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think that they anticipated kind of where we are right now before going into that meeting?
I can't say what anybody else thought.
Gotcha. Yeah, because it seems like it was a little bit more of a surprise just from the outside looking in, but I'm wondering, how we got here, right? Like it's one of those things where it seems like it was more of a surprise. Lee, you were going to ask a question.
Yeah. When you were a prosecutor and you had a big star witness, is it typical that you would try to prepare the witness in some way, or can you talk to us about the relationship between a prosecutor and her star witness? Kind of what goes into that?
I mean, when I was a prosecutor, I didn't have a lot of cases like this. Like I did I was in a fast track courtroom, so I did a lot of drug cases, a lot non-witness victim crimes. But the most crimes that I had that may have had a witness were a lot of domestic violence, which is even harder to prep your witness because most of the time the abused or battered person is already back in a relationship with that person. So it's kind of similar. They will recount and they will say, well, I didn't mean it like that. But like I said, there's always an explanation. You can always bring in an expert to say, well, hey, this is what people do. There's always ways to rehabilitate your witness. And that's why I say I don't know the end game. So I cannot speak to how he benefits or does not benefit the state.
Right. Shout out to Trooper Dog. Trooper Dog says the judge scheduled the show cause at the end of Friday. So maybe he's talking about this Friday. Trooper Dog says that the judge said it's going to be in camera. All right. Can you explain what in camera means to the people, Kayla?
Now, I don't know what
and who knows if this is true or not. Let's just say,
I'm not too sure about what this is, but I really don't know what it's gonna be. Is he trying to say on camera?
No, in camera, like in his chambers.
I don't
know. Not open to the public. Which to me would make sense, because if you had it in open court and it's a whole hearing and you're represented and other people are represented, then there could be some questions that are asked. And it appears to me that the judge does not want all the information out about that secret meeting. In fact, the judge is actually redacting the transcript, supposedly. And he said that some of the information in that transcript, or some of the information in that meeting, was privileged. Now, you yourself, through your attorneys in the motion that you filed, you were saying, well, how could it be privileged if there was, so many people in the room, right? Can you explain to us a little bit about how privilege works and why, if there were 13, 14, 15 people in the room, why that would be an issue in terms of privilege in general?
Well, I think the main privilege that, I don't know what privilege he's saying. I can't speak to that. I don't know. But the only privilege that could have existed for me would have been attorney-client privilege. And, that is destroyed if there is a third party in the room. And I just, like I said, I can't really speak to as to what happened in the meeting yet. But I'll leave it at that. Got you.
Shout out to the beautiful Erica with a T, says, Miss Bumpus, if you were still on as a prosecutor, number one, would you name Woody as a star witness? And number two, what approach would you have when questioning Woody or someone similar? Kind of what would your style be? And would you want to name him as your star witness?
I mean, like I said, I don't know who's next. I don't know. I don't have anything to do with this case. So I don't know what's next. So I don't know what they have or what they're doing. But I think Simone is doing a great job. She's so calm. She's remaining professional. And I just don't think there's anyone who could have done it better.
Gotcha. And it seems to me, in defense of what you're saying, it just seems like Woody does not want to cooperate with the prosecution. Not necessarily that he doesn't want to cooperate with Miss Hylton individually, or, he doesn't want to cooperate with Miss Love. It's just he doesn't want to cooperate with the state. Now,
that's what it seems like.
And what do you do when you have a star witness? Let's say you have a DV case and the star witness is the wife and allegedly she's been up she's been beaten up. And now, like you said, she wants to recant, or she gets up on the witness stand and perjures herself when that's kind of your witness. Like, what do you do in that situation when you see that she's turned against you in favor of the defense?
I mean, you just get an expert witness to say, this is a cycle of domestic violence. This is expected. This is how it happens. You get the police officer to show the body cam what happened this day, what was actually said. You get hospital records. I mean, it's just so many ways. Like I said, you just rehabilitate your witness with what you have.
Gotcha. So you rehabilitate your witness, not necessarily through your witness's words on the stand, but you look for corroborating evidence that kind of bolsters your theory of the case.
Yep.
And it seems
and
like
what they said on that day and what happened that day, you take the jury back to that day.
Yes. And it seems like that is exactly what Ms. Hylton is doing by introducing all of these hours and hours of video footage. It sounds like she's saying, okay, well, if you don't want to cooperate today, that's fine, because we have on video what you said in 2014, what you said in 2015, what you said in 2016. Is that the strategy kind of that you were talking about as well just now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you think it's working?
So I said, I don't know. I mean, this is a...
It's super tough. Kayla, it's so good to get your perspective too, and just to kind of help the audience, because you've been practicing for quite some time, and you've been on both sides of it, like representing defendants, but also on the prosecuting side. How long have you been in the criminal law space?
For 8 years, going on 8 years. This will be my 8th year.
Wow, look at that. That is a lot of experience.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Dear Woke Christian. Dear Woke Christian says, Miss Bumpus, have you ever had a witness that's this difficult? Number one. And number two, have you been able to steer back into calm waters praying for your hearing? Have you had a witness that's this difficult that just fights you on every single thing? And if you've had difficult witnesses, how do you get them back on track?
I have never had a witness this difficult. Never.
Wow.
And I mean, I can't speak to this. It's like I said, it's like this situation is unprecedented. So it's not really anything that I can compare it to. I mean, there's so many defendants, there's so many witnesses, there's so much going on. And it's just really kind of all you can, you just have to be consistent, stand your ground, and keep going, keep pressing through. That's all you can do.
Now, let me ask you this. Theoretically, in theory, there's supposed to be a difference in how the defense attorneys approach a case versus the prosecutors, right? It seems like the defense attorneys are there to win, and they are there to get their client off or to get a better result in some way. Whereas prosecutors typically are not supposed to be focused on winning. They are supposed to be focused on seeking justice, right? And so if you have a client that's this difficult, a client that is fighting back so much, why is it, would you say, as a prosecutor, why would you not say, well, if this witness, my star witness or a star witness of this case feels this strongly and is so uncooperative, why don't I just drop the whole thing? Why is it, like you were saying, that if you have someone that's just doesn't want to go through with it, why do you need to try to corroborate their testimony? Why not just drop it based on them not wanting to proceed forward?
I mean, are you saying drop the whole case or just move on to the next witness?
Drop whatever, not necessarily the whole case, especially in a case this big. But if Woody's testimony were needed for, let's say, 6 counts of a multi-count indictment, why not just drop the 6 counts and just say, okay, my star witness for this particular portion is not cooperating and he's totally unreliable, and it's just not just for me to continue with these 6 counts. Why don't I deal with the other 54? Why try to rehabilitate it?
I don't think that they feel that way. I feel like they think that, and then also, they want to get those videos in, and without his testimony, they can't get that evidence in. They want the jury to see those videos. So they're just doing what they have to do to get that in, and then leave it up to the jury to decide what's credible.
Got you. Now, I'm not sure how long you were in the courtroom, or if I guess when you were there, the jury was not out. The jury was not watching you. Is that correct?
I really don't remember. I did see the jury at certain points.
Okay. Miss Sylvia was there, and she's been in the courtroom for so long, and she's looked at the jury, and she came up on Friday, I think it was Thursday or Friday, and she was saying that the majority of jurors are not taking notes. Sometimes the jurors are talking to each other while the case is going on. Sometimes the jurors, have their head down, their eyes closed. Were you able to look at the jury and kind of get a sense of whether they were paying attention or not?
No, I wasn't. The moment was so heated that
I
don't remember. I'm trying to get home.
Were you able to go home after the hearing, or have you been here the whole time?
No, I went back home.
You went back, and then so you're back, but you're back here in Atlanta now?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Now you mentioned that the state needs Woody to get these videos in, and apparently there's 15, 16, 17 hours of these videos. Do you think that these videos are going to keep the jurors' attention? All of these videos. Have you seen some of them? Just the interrogation videos.
I mean, I've seen what was released previously. I don't know if you guys remember when it kind of went viral when they were first released.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, that's about all. Like I said, I have nothing to do with this case.
Mm-hmm. And you being a prosecutor and you being able to kind of tell maybe what's engaging with your jurors and what's not, do you think these videos are going to have the intended effect of really informing the jury, or do you think maybe the jurors, some of them are just going to fall asleep or tune out? Kind of what's your take as a prosecutor on presenting 16 hours of videos to your jury?
I would say that, I mean, of course, what we saw is very edited and short clips, but it really depends on what the subject matter is and how the questioning is going.
But you know what the subject matter is? It's these Woody interrogations. That's what it's about, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know what they're asking him. Like, how the line of questioning went. Is he being cooperative? Is he being like is right now, or what's going on? So I just can't answer that. I can't answer that. It just really is going to depend on, we only saw what was interesting or was funny. We didn't see all the hours. So I mean, unless it's like that the whole time, I can't imagine that how interested they be.
Got you. And shout out to Breezy F Baby, says she don't know, Lee. God dang, stop backing.
He's trying to pull it out of you. He's like, come on. He's trying to heave it out.
I haven't seen it.
Too funny.
No, I feel you. Well, listen, I would love to have you come back when you are able to speak more. And obviously, I really appreciate the fact that you've taken time out of your day to come up, and you are one of the best sources of information on here. You've been in the courtroom, you've talked to the judge directly, you have a relationship with Ms. Hylton, you talked to some of the defense attorneys, you yourself were at this secret meeting. So you have just a wealth of information about this case. And we understand, we really do, why you are constrained to answer some of these questions. And I think that's totally fair, even though if I am trying to, get a little extra, little squeeze out of you. Right? But yeah.
We got Glanville in the chat now.
All right.
He's watching.
That is exactly right. They watch it. And I'm sure your attorneys as well would appreciate, you being real circumspect about this, at least until this hearing tomorrow. And then maybe, who knows, if it's tomorrow, if it's Friday, whenever it is. So I don't want to beat you up too much before my whole chat turns on me. But is there anything else that any observations or anything that you want to say to the chat or just to people out there, clear up any misconceptions about you and Miss Hylton being Soros, anything about that, anything like that you want to tell the people?
I mean, I just, my whole thing is it's going to play out the way it's supposed to play out, and everything happens for a reason. I don't know what that reason was, but I do believe that I was supposed to be there for whatever reason. I was supposed to be there, and it was supposed to happen this way. And I'm just thankful that nobody's being too hard on me, and because what people don't understand, you may understand, but it's a lot to have worked so hard for everything that I have and then show up one day and be accused of being unethical, being accused of so many things, and then potentially being held in contempt for, things that you really just kind of I was just there,
you just showed up.
I just showed up. So at first, I'm not gonna lie to you, the first day after the first couple of days, I was, in a place like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? But I'm definitely thankful that nobody's been too hard on me, and that, every day people are supporting me, saying, it's gonna be okay and everything. And I know it is. And that's all I have to say.
You got a lot of people rooting you on, cheering you on. We're all gonna be in this chat tomorrow, like, go Kayla.
Yes. You mentioned one of your attorneys is named Gabe. And I remember an attorney named Gabe from this whole Fannie Willis, Nathan Wade trial, where I think Nathan's actually, it was kind of a situation like yours where Terrence, who was Nathan's law partner, was kind of representing him in the divorce. But then, of course, Nathan was doing all the work himself. But is that the same Gabe that was involved in that case that I think was talking to Terrence? Is that the same one, or do you know anything about that?
I'm not sure.
Gotcha. Okay. Can you tell everybody if they're in a car accident or if they get locked up on an ag assault, where can they find you and how can they get in contact with you?
Well, yeah. So I have my Instagram, which is Bless Squire. And I also have the PI Princess. Both of those are my real Instagrams. I can put them in the chat or something.
Yeah, if you can put them in the chat.
My phone number is on both those pages.
Gotcha. And actually, they might not allow you to put links in the chat if that's what you're going to put. If you were, you can put it in the private chat, and then AV can.
Yeah, we put your Instagram there.
Oh gotcha. Yeah, somebody put it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Jarreel's Crazy World says, did you feel intimidated when you walked into the secret meeting, and did it feel like it was an atmosphere meant to make you uncomfortable?
Well, I can't talk about that.
Oh, you almost got it. You almost got it. I was like, oh, you almost had it. Great questions. Those are very insightful questions. And shout out to Kay Cooper, said, yep, Kay Cooper just followed you on Instagram. So y'all can follow Miss Bumpus on Instagram. And you mentioned how you have gotten so much support and encouragement. We over here have been behind you the whole way. So shout out to Miss Bumpus. Everybody loves you over here. Everybody's rooting for you. And everybody's supporting you. So we hope that you can come back. You'll be willing to come back when you're able to speak a little bit more freely. We all understand why you are, again, constrained in your communications about this case. And even being so constrained, you have given some very valuable information and insights about this case. So everybody write Miss Bumpus. Everybody write Miss Bumpus in the chat. And thank you so much for coming up. And hopefully you'll be able to come back. And you're always welcome to hit the link and come up anytime you feel like it. All right.
Thank you guys so much. And I will come back because I have a lot to say. I have so much to say.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank y'all for spamming Miss Bumpus. And thank you so much for coming up. And again, we look forward for you coming back. All right.
Thorpe talks about the
Oh God. Okay, guys, hold on. We are going to hit pause here because an announcement just came out. Oh, Judge Glanville, you're killing me, dude. All right, here is the announcement. As of 2 minutes ago, there is a Judge Glanville has moved his show cause hearing to July 3rd. This hearing is for him to determine if anyone other than Brian Steele should be held in contempt as a result of the ex parte meeting. He will also be holding an in-camera private transcript review as of July 1st. Let me show you guys what I'm looking at. Guys, it just came out and it was e-filed today at 5:25. So about 13 minutes ago, this was filed. And it basically says that the show cause hearing has been moved to July 3rd. And the reason why is to provide the parties who have been ordered to reappear the opportunity to review a transcript of the ex parte meeting. Okay, so we have an update on the transcript. Accordingly, it is hereby ordered that all individuals that were present for the ex parte secret meeting have to report on the 3rd day of July at 9 a.m. Otherwise, they'll be held in contempt. It is further ordered that this court will conduct an in-camera review of the June 10th transcript with the necessary parties on this first day of July at 9 a.m. It is also further ordered that any failure of any individuals who are present in that meeting for the show cause hearing will cause the court to direct the Fulton County Sheriff's Office to take them into custody and bring them into the bar of this court. So what does that mean? Number one, we have learned that they have moved the meeting to July 3rd, okay? The second thing for the defense attorneys, and this is huge, the defense attorneys that wanted a transcript, they're going to have a meeting with Judge Glanville on July 1st, okay? And they are going to be able to review it with him. And let me just look at this again. And that transcript meeting is going to happen in camera. So it is not, and when I say in camera, guys, I mean in the judge's chambers. So the defense attorneys are going to be able to go into the judge's chambers and talk about the secret meeting. This is why, let me tell you something. This is kind of bullshit because Judge Glanville is still protecting the information from that secret meeting to the point where he's not going to release the transcript to them. They have to come to his office and talk about the transcript and review the transcript in his chambers. It's not going to be available for public perception. There is a reason for that. There is a reason for that. And I'm so sorry, guys. You know, we like to give you this stuff hot off the press, and I didn't want to waste time. But yeah, those are the two updates. They're going to do an in-camera review of the transcript with the necessary parties on the first day of July. And then, he rescheduled the other piece.